Success isn't about what you achieve, it's about who you become in the process. Let's explore how to get there. One thing you should practice is self-confidence. That's the word that changed my life, even when everything seemed impossible. I remember failing my university entrance exams, not once, but twice. People laughed at me and said I had no future. Even doors to simple jobs were shut in my face. For example, I was rejected more than 30 times for ordinary job positions. But do you know what kept me going? The belief that I had something within me that no one could take away. The strength to keep trying. And that strength came from believing that even without perfect resources, I could create my own path. Self-confidence is the foundation of all growth. Without it, any opportunity will dissolve before you even try. Believe me, no one starts out with everything planned or guaranteed. The difference lies in how you see yourself. When you choose to believe in yourself, you start to see possibilities where you once only saw barriers. Remember that famous phrase I like to use? If not now, when? If not me, who? That's more than a phrase. It's a call to action, an invitation for you to take control of your life. Success isn't about what you achieve, it's about who you become in the process. Let's explore how to get there. One thing you should practice is self-confidence. That's the word that changed my life, even when everything seemed impossible. I remember failing my university entrance exams, not once, but twice. People laughed at me and said I had no future. Even doors to simple jobs were shut in my face. For example, I was rejected more than 30 times for ordinary job positions. But do you know what kept me going? The belief that I had something within me that no one could take away, the strength to keep trying. And that strength came from believing that even without perfect resources, I could create my own path. And if you still think self-confidence is something unreachable, think with me. It doesn't come from great achievements, but from small steps. In fact, I started believing in myself when I realized that every attempt, even the ones that failed, brought me closer to my goal. It's like building a bridge, brick by brick. No matter how challenging the journey is, when you believe, even the hardest days become valuable lessons. Here's a secret that changed the way I see challenges. Self-confidence is not arrogance. It's about accepting your weaknesses and still believing in your potential. I often say that failures are like the wind. You can complain that it's against you, or you can learn to adjust your sails. The choice is yours. And when you choose to move, even without guarantees, you create opportunities where there were only doubts. So, let me ask you this. What's holding you back? Isn't it time to trust yourself more? Success doesn't start with money or connections. It begins with the decision that you are capable. And you know what? Self-confidence might be the push you needed to take the first step in the right direction. When we think of great achievements, we often fool ourselves into believing they come from grand gestures or perfect opportunities. But let me share a secret. Everything I've achieved started small, simple, imperfect. When I founded Alibaba, we didn't have resources, connections, or infrastructure. What we had was a modest room and an idea, and that was enough to start. Because as I often say, if not now, when? If not me, who? The power of starting small lies in consistency. Imagine improving just 1% every day. It seems insignificant, but over a year, the impact is transformational. It's like planting a seed. You don't reap the fruits the next day, but with care and patience, growth is inevitable. When I was struggling financially, I learned that the most important thing was to take the next small step, even if I couldn't see the whole path. This daily commitment is what little by little builds extraordinary things. Why do so many people fail to reach their dreams? Because they wait for the perfect moment. But perfection is a myth. Remember, none of us start out as experts. If you have an idea, a goal, or a desire, start where you are with what you have. When I think back to the early days of my journey, I remember that we were just a group of friends with courage, not experts with unlimited resources. It was our daily effort, even in small steps, that paved the way to success. And do you know what's most interesting? When you start small, you learn faster. Every mistake, every adjustment becomes a stepping stone. I often compare it to catching a rabbit. You don't change the rabbit, you adapt. As I like to say, if you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. Adjust your pace, shift your strategy, but keep chasing your goal. Perfection can wait, learning cannot. So start today. It doesn't have to be a big step. Maybe it's doing some research, having a conversation, or even writing down your goals. The important thing is to create momentum, and when you look back, you'll see that those small beginnings created something you never thought possible. After all, everything that seems big today once started small. There's something magical that happens when you believe in the impossible. I've lived it. Many times people told me my dreams were too big for someone like me, a boy from a small town with no connections or money. But here's what I learned. The size of your success is directly proportional to the size of your belief in what's possible. As I often say, when you're poor, if you have a dream, you never feel poor. A growth mindset is the key to turning challenges into opportunities. Every obstacle I faced taught me to see hidden possibilities. When Alibaba began, there were so many doubts. Even banks rejected our ideas, but that only made us more determined. I saw every no as an invitation to think differently, to find creative solutions that others didn't consider. After all, the world belongs to those who believe that the impossible is just a starting point. A growth mindset is also about accepting that mistakes are part of the process. If you ask me how many times I've failed, I'd say more times than I can count. But every failure brought a lesson that made me stronger. I compare it to climbing a mountain. Every rock in the path is an opportunity to learn where to step more firmly. That's how you turn every fall into a step towards success. Have you ever noticed how your mind can be your biggest barrier? Many people limit their dreams because they don't believe they can change. But let me tell you something, nothing is fixed. You can learn anything if you're willing to try. I remember how my lack of technical skills was a challenge, but instead of giving up, I sought to learn and surrounded myself with people who complimented me. That's what growth is, believing you can adapt, evolve, and conquer. So, what's stopping you from believing in the impossible? Sometimes, the biggest barrier isn't the world around you, but what you tell yourself. When you change your mindset, you'll find that you can change your destiny. And the journey to success begins when you choose to believe in what's not yet visible. Remember, the impossible is just a word until someone makes it a reality. Why can't that someone be you? Let me start with a personal story. I've failed exams, job interviews, and even business ideas. Sounds discouraging, doesn't it? But here's what I've learned. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of the journey. I often say, I failed university exams repeatedly. I was rejected from over 30 jobs, including KFC. But you know what? I never gave up. Failure teaches lessons that success never can. Think about it. When everything goes right, you just keep going. But when something goes wrong, you're forced to reflect, adjust, and grow. At the start of Alibaba, we failed at so many initiatives that I lost count. But every failure was a brick in the foundation of our success. I remember telling my team, don't worry if we lose today. We've learned something valuable for tomorrow. If you're afraid of failing, you're depriving yourself of life's greatest lessons. Many avoid risks because they think failure is a sign of weakness. But let me tell you something. The real failure is never trying. When you try and fail, you're closer to success than someone who never left their comfort zone. Think of a baby learning to walk. They fall countless times before taking their first step. Have you ever seen a baby give up? What makes failure so powerful is its ability to prepare us for the next challenge. During my journey, I realized that every closed door pushed me toward an even greater opportunity. When I was rejected at KFC, I thought it was the end. But that no was the force that drove me to pursue something no one else could see. As I often say, if you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. So what can you learn from your failures? Think of them as training for success. Every mistake strengthens your emotional muscles, your resilience, and your creativity. And most importantly, failing means you're trying. Those who never fail, never grow. So embrace failure, learn from it, and use it as a bridge to your next big step. Have you ever wondered what separates dreams from reality? For me, the answer has always been clear: self-discipline. When we founded Alibaba, we were a group of young dreamers. We had energy, ideas, and a shared goal, but none of it would have been enough without the discipline to stay focused. I often tell my team, when motivation fades, it's self-discipline that keeps us on track. Self-discipline is like a muscle. At first, it might seem hard, even painful, but the more you practice, the stronger it gets. I remember the days when we worked 12, 14 hours straight to solve problems that seemed impossible. It wasn't easy, but we knew every effort counted. It's like improving 1% every day. It might not seem significant at the moment, but over time, it transforms lives. You can have the greatest talent in the world, but without self-discipline, it won't have an impact. Think of an artist who doesn't practice or an entrepreneur who doesn't organize their ideas. The difference between dreaming and achieving lies in the ability to act, even when the desire isn't there. And that's the magic of self-discipline. It creates consistency in a world full of distractions. As I like to say, success isn't about working hard, it's about working consistently on what matters. Many confuse self-discipline with rigidity. In reality, it's liberating. When you establish routines and priorities, you stop being a slave to improvisation and start mastering your own schedule. That's what I learned in the early years of my journey. Small daily practices like reviewing goals or eliminating distractions became the foundation of what we built. It doesn't matter if you have 10 minutes or 10 hours a day. What matters is using that time with purpose. If you still think self-discipline is hard to achieve, start small. Choose one habit, something simple, and commit to it for a week. It could be as basic as planning your day the night before or waking up 10 minutes earlier. The key is to create consistency. And believe me, once you master self-discipline, nothing can stop you. Gratitude is something powerful. At first, I didn't understand it. I was so focused on what I lacked, money, support, results, that I forgot to appreciate what I already had. But over time, I realized that gratitude transforms how you see the world. When you're grateful, even challenges feel lighter. I often say, if you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. That also applies to how we view life. Gratitude isn't just an emotion, it's a practice. When you're grateful, you acknowledge the opportunities hidden within problems. When Alibaba faced difficulties, I often gathered my team to reflect on what we had learned. We thanked those lessons, even when they were tough. Why? Because we knew those lessons would take us further, and in the end, they always did. Think about how many times you've complained about something that doesn't even matter anymore. Gratitude helps us focus on the present, finding meaning even in the smallest things. It's like adjusting the focus of a camera. When you choose to see what's good, your perspective changes. I remember celebrating small advances at Alibaba. Each little victory made us believe something bigger was on the way. Gratitude is this: celebrating the process, not just the result. Gratitude also strengthens your resilience. In the toughest moments, facing investor rejections or competitor criticisms, the practice of gratitude kept us strong. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's transformative. It's as if the act of giving thanks unlocks a hidden strength. Have you ever tried being grateful for something that seemed insignificant? It's incredible how it can change your day. So, how can you incorporate gratitude into your life? Start simple. Before going to bed, think of 3 things you're grateful for. Write them down, say them out loud, or just reflect on them. The important thing is to recognize the value of what's already around you. And remember, when you give thanks, you not only attract more good things, but also create a mindset of abundance. Gratitude isn't about having more, it's about realizing what you have is enough to keep growing. Time. It's the one resource we all have equally, yet how we use it makes all the difference. I've always believed that managing your time with purpose is more powerful than simply being busy. Many people equate busyness with productivity, but they're not the same. I like to say, success isn't about working more hours, it's about working on what truly matters. The key is knowing how to prioritize. When I started Alibaba, our team had endless tasks and little time. It was tempting to focus on everything at once, but we learned quickly that spreading ourselves too thin achieved nothing. Instead, we focused on high-impact tasks, the ones that truly move the needle. I often ask my team, what's the one thing we can do today that will make the biggest difference? This approach helped us stay focused and avoid distractions. Distractions are everywhere, especially in today's digital age. Notifications, emails, and endless scrolling can steal your most valuable moments. The secret is to take control of your time before it controls you. One habit I've developed is scheduling blocks of uninterrupted time for deep work. It might sound rigid, but this structure gave me the freedom to focus on the most important tasks without interruption. Time management isn't just about work, it's about balance. Imagine your day as a canvas. If you fill it with random strokes, you'll end up with chaos. But if you paint with intention, every detail comes together beautifully. I've learned to create time not just for work, but for reflection, learning, and connection with others. After all, Time spent nurturing yourself and your relationships is just as crucial as time spent on tasks. So, how can you start managing your time with purpose? Begin by identifying your top priorities. Ask yourself, what's truly important today? Then, eliminate distractions and set boundaries. Even small changes, like limiting social media or organizing your schedule, can have a big impact. Remember, time is like a river. You can't stop it, but you can direct its flow. Have you ever closed your eyes and pictured your ideal future? I have many times. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools I've used to guide my actions. Before Alibaba became a reality, I imagined what it could be. I pictured a company that connected businesses around the world, even when the idea seemed impossible. That vision became a mental roadmap. Visualization is about more than dreaming. It's about creating clarity. When you see your goals vividly, you're more likely to pursue them with focus and determination. It's like setting a destination on a GPS. The clearer the target, the easier it is to find your way. I've always told my team, if you can see it in your mind, you can make it real. This isn't magic. It's about aligning your actions with your vision. During tough times, visualization can keep you grounded. When we faced setbacks at Alibaba, I reminded myself of the bigger picture. I would close my eyes and see our future success. That mental image gave me the energy to keep going. Visualization doesn't make challenges disappear, but it gives you the strength to overcome them. It's like seeing the summit of a mountain. It keeps you climbing step by step. It's important to combine visualization with action. Simply imagining success won't make it happen. You need to pair your vision with consistent effort. Think of it like building a house. The blueprint is essential, but you still need to lay each brick. Visualization provides the plan, but your actions bring it to life. So, why not take a moment today to visualize your ideal future? Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and picture where you want to be. See it in detail, what you're doing, who you're with, and how you feel. Then, ask yourself, what's the next step to make this vision a reality? Remember, every great achievement starts as a thought in someone's mind. Resilience. It's a word that holds so much power. If I could sum up the core of my journey, it would be this. Resilience is the ability to stand up no matter how many times you fall. I've been knocked down more times than I can count by failures, rejections, and setbacks. But every time I stood back up, stronger than before. I believe resilience isn't just a trait. It's a skill you build by facing challenges head-on. Resilience is forged in adversity. During Alibaba's early days, we faced countless rejections. Banks wouldn't support us. People doubted us. Even some of our closest friends didn't believe in our vision. But each no we encountered taught us how to persevere. I told my team, the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. It's in those tough moments that you discover who you really are. Building resilience starts with mindset. Challenges aren't roadblocks, they're stepping stones. I often compare them to waves in the ocean. You can let them drown you, or you can learn to ride them. Every failure, every obstacle is an opportunity to adapt and grow. Resilience doesn't mean you don't feel pain or doubt. It means you don't let them stop you. Instead, you use them to fuel your journey forward. One of the most important lessons I've learned about resilience is the value of perspective. When things go wrong, it's easy to focus on what's lost. But resilience is about shifting your focus to what you can learn and how you can move forward. I often tell my team, when faced with a challenge, don't ask, why me? Instead, ask, what can I do now? That shift in perspective changes everything. So how can you cultivate resilience in your own life? Start by embracing challenges instead of avoiding them. When setbacks come, remind yourself that they're temporary. Surround yourself with people who uplift you and inspire you to keep going. And most importantly, keep moving forward. Resilience isn't about never falling. It's about never staying down. If there's one thing that has defined my journey, it's a commitment to lifelong learning. I've always believed that curiosity is the fuel for growth. The world changes so quickly, and if you stop learning, you risk falling behind. When I was younger, I didn't have access to the best education, but I had an insatiable hunger to learn, and that made all the difference. Continuous learning isn't about formal education, it's about staying curious and open to new ideas. During Alibaba's early days, I knew very little about technology. I wasn't an expert in e-commerce or coding, but instead of seeing that as a weakness, I saw it as an opportunity to learn. I surrounded myself with people who were smarter than me and asked questions every chance I got. Learning is a habit, not a one-time event. It's something you cultivate daily. For me, it might mean reading a book, having a conversation with someone who thinks differently, or reflecting on past mistakes. One of my favorite sayings is, "The best teacher is your last mistake." Every error you make is a lesson waiting to be discovered. In today's world, continuous learning is more important than ever. Think about this. 50% of the jobs we know today will disappear in the next 20 years. The future belongs to those who can adapt, innovate, and think creatively. That's why emotional intelligence, curiosity, and creativity are skills that no machine can replace. And those skills come from a commitment to never stop learning. So how can you make learning a part of your life? Start small. Pick a book that intrigues you, take a course online, or simply ask more questions in your everyday life. The key is to stay curious and never settle. Remember, the moment you stop learning is the moment you stop growing. The world is full of knowledge. Go out and explore it. Your circle of influence can shape your future. I've seen this firsthand throughout my journey. When I was building Alibaba, I realized that surrounding myself with the right people made all the difference. Their energy, ideas, and encouragement pushed me forward, even during the toughest times. The truth is, you become like the people you spend the most time with. So ask yourself, are the people around you lifting you up or pulling you down? Positive influences inspire you to dream bigger and push harder. When I started Alibaba, I didn't surround myself with experts or millionaires. I surrounded myself with people who believed in the vision. They weren't there to criticize or doubt, but to help find solutions. We weren't perfect, but together, we were unstoppable. The right people amplify your strengths and help you see opportunities where others see obstacles. But it's not just about finding people who agree with you. Sometimes, the best influences challenge you to grow. I've had mentors and colleagues who pushed me to think differently, even when I resisted. Their perspectives expanded my understanding and taught me lessons I might never have learned on my own. Growth often comes from discomfort, and positive influences help you navigate that with encouragement and wisdom. One of the most powerful lessons I've learned is the importance of avoiding negativity. Toxic people drain your energy and plant seeds of doubt in your mind. I'm not saying you should cut everyone out of your life, but be mindful of how much time and energy you give to those who don't support your goals. As I often say, if you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. And that includes the company you keep. So how do you build a circle of positive influences? Start by seeking out people who inspire you. Join groups, attend events, or connect with mentors who align with your goals. Be intentional about nurturing relationships that bring out the best in you. And remember, positivity is contagious. When you uplift others, you attract people who will do the same for you. Your success isn't just about what you do, it's also about who you surround yourself with. Learning to say no might be one of the most valuable skills you ever develop. Early in my journey, I wanted to say yes to everything, every opportunity, every meeting, every request. But soon I realized that saying yes to everything meant saying no to what truly mattered. Protecting your time and energy is not selfish, it's essential. As I often tell my team, success isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. Saying no isn't about rejecting people, it's about prioritizing your goals. Imagine your time as a jar and your priorities as the big rocks that fill it. If you let the small pebbles, distractions, and unimportant tasks fill the jar first, there won't be room for the big rocks. Learning to say no allows you to focus on what truly moves you closer to your dreams. Many people struggle with saying no because they fear disappointing others. But here's the truth. You can't please everyone, and trying to do so will only drain you. I've learned this lesson the hard way. When I was building Alibaba, I had to make tough decisions to stay focused on our vision. I couldn't say yes to every idea or partnership that came our way. And in hindsight, those no's were just as important as the yeses that shaped our success. Saying no is an act of self-care. It sets boundaries that protect your mental and emotional well-being. Think of it as guarding your time like a valuable resource, because it is. Every time you say no to something that doesn't align with your goals, you're saying yes to something that does. It's not about being unkind, it's about being intentional. So how do you master the art of saying no? Start by being clear about your priorities. When faced with a decision, ask yourself, Does this align with my goals? If not, politely decline. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but over time, you'll realize that every no you say frees you to focus on what truly matters. And remember, you don't owe an explanation for every decision. Saying no is a statement of respect for your time, your goals, and yourself. Learning is one of life's greatest pleasures. Many people think of it as a chore or something you do only in school, but for me, learning has always been a source of joy. It expands your horizons and shows you possibilities you never knew existed. When I was younger, I didn't have the best education or resources, but I had an insatiable curiosity. That curiosity made even the most challenging lessons enjoyable. There's a special kind of excitement that comes with mastering something new. It's like unlocking a hidden door and discovering a world of opportunities. When Alibaba began, I had little knowledge of technology or e-commerce, but instead of being intimidated, I approached it with curiosity and an eagerness to learn. Every mistake became a lesson, and every lesson brought us closer to success. The process itself was rewarding. Stepping out of your comfort zone is where the real magic happens. Learning isn't just about acquiring knowledge, it's about challenging yourself to grow. I often compare it to trying a new sport or skill. At first it's awkward and uncomfortable, but as you practice, it becomes second nature. The joy doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from seeing your progress and realizing what you're capable of. One of my favorite aspects of learning is how it connects you with others. Sharing knowledge, exchanging ideas, and collaborating with people from different backgrounds can be incredibly fulfilling. I remember how, in the early days of Alibaba, every discussion and brainstorming session was a chance to learn from my team. Their insights and experiences enriched my own understanding and reminded me that learning is a collective journey. So how can you rediscover the joy of learning? Start by pursuing something you're genuinely curious about. It could be a hobby, a new skill, or a topic you've always wanted to explore. Approach it with an open mind and no fear of failure. Remember, the process of learning is just as valuable as the knowledge you gain. And when you embrace it, you'll find that every step forward feels like a celebration. Adversity is inevitable. At some point, we all face challenges that test our patience, determination, and courage. But here's the thing. It's in those moments that you discover your true strength. I've faced my fair share of setbacks, from failed exams to rejected business pitches. Yet every obstacle taught me something invaluable. As I like to say, when you're poor, if you have a dream, you never feel poor. Dreams give you the power to rise above hardships. The toughest times are often the greatest teachers. I remember when Alibaba was struggling to gain traction. Investors turned us down, competitors mocked us, and even friends doubted us. It was a period filled with uncertainty. But instead of giving up, I found strength in those moments of adversity. They forced me to think creatively, adapt quickly, and believe in myself and my team even more. Adversity sharpens your focus like nothing else. Finding strength doesn't mean ignoring your struggles. It means facing them head on. Imagine a tree growing in a storm. Its roots dig deeper, and its trunk becomes stronger because of the harsh winds. That's what adversity does to us. It pushes us to grow in ways we never imagined. You might not see it in the moment, but every challenge is preparing you for something bigger. Perspective is key to overcoming adversity. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" That shift in mindset turns obstacles into opportunities. During one of Alibaba's most difficult periods, I told my team, "This isn't the end of the road, it's just a bend. We're learning how to navigate it so we can move forward." That belief kept us going when everything else seemed uncertain. So how do you find strength in adversity? Start by embracing the struggle instead of running from it. Reflect on what the challenge is teaching you. Surround yourself with people who believe in you, even when things are tough. And most importantly, remind yourself that no storm lasts forever. When the sky's clear, you'll emerge stronger, wiser, and ready for the next chapter. Success means little if you sacrifice your health and happiness along the way. I've learned this the hard way. In the early days of Alibaba, I worked tirelessly, pouring every ounce of energy into building the company. But as time went on, I realized something important. No matter how successful you are, if you neglect your mental and physical well-being, you won't be able to sustain that success. Balance is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Taking care of yourself is the foundation of productivity. Imagine a car running without maintenance. It might go far for a while, but eventually it will break down. The same is true for us. Prioritizing your health, spending time with loved ones, and allowing yourself to rest are not signs of weakness. They're signs of wisdom. It's like I always say, you need to take care of your employees and yourself as if you're a family. Work-life balance doesn't mean splitting your time equally. It means being fully present in whatever you're doing. When you're at work, focus on your tasks with intention. When you're at home, give your undivided attention to your family and personal interests. It's not about quantity but quality. For me, this shift in perspective allowed me to feel fulfilled in both areas, even during the busiest times. Achieving balance requires setting boundaries. Learn to say no to tasks that don't align with your priorities. Delegate when possible, and don't be afraid to take breaks. I've seen many entrepreneurs burn out because they believed they had to do everything themselves. But the truth is, you can't pour from an empty cup. Taking time for yourself is not selfish, it's essential to keep going. So how do you start creating balance in your life? Reflect on what truly matters to you. Schedule time for those priorities just as you would for work meetings. Listen to your body and mind when they signal that you need rest. And most importantly, remember that success isn't about how much you achieve. It's about how well you live. Finding balance allows you to enjoy the journey, not just the destination. Goals are like a compass. Without them, you can drift aimlessly, wasting time and energy. Early in my journey, I realized that having a clear direction made all the difference. When we started Alibaba, we didn't just dream of success, we defined it. Our goal was simple but bold, to make it easier for small businesses to succeed online. That clarity kept us focused, even when the path was unclear. Setting clear goals starts with knowing what you want. Vague ambitions like, I want to be successful, aren't enough. You need to break them down into specific, actionable steps. For example, instead of saying, I want to grow my business, set a target like, I want to increase sales by 20% in 6 months. This approach turns dreams into plans and gives you a roadmap to follow. Concrete goals also create accountability. When you know exactly what you're working toward, it's easier to measure progress and adjust as needed. At Alibaba, we constantly reviewed our milestones to ensure we were on track. If we fell behind, we didn't panic. We analyzed why and adapted our strategies. This process turned even our setbacks into stepping stones for success. But here's the catch. Goals must be realistic and achievable. Setting overly ambitious targets can lead to frustration and burnout. Instead, focus on breaking big goals into smaller, manageable pieces. I often say improve by 1% every day. It might seem insignificant, but those small improvements compound into massive results over time. Goals don't have to be grand to be impactful. They just need to be clear. So, what's your next goal? Take a moment to write it down. Be specific, set a timeline, and outline the steps you'll take to achieve it. Remember, clarity is power. When you know where you're going, you can navigate even the roughest waters. And once you achieve one goal, set another. Success isn't a destination. It's a continuous journey guided by the goals you set along the way. Positive thinking is not about ignoring challenges, it's about facing them with optimism and confidence. I've faced countless moments of doubt and uncertainty in my life, from being rejected by universities to building Alibaba against overwhelming odds. But what carried me through those moments wasn't blind hope. It was the belief that no matter how difficult things seemed, there was always a way forward. Positive thinking doesn't change the situation, but it changes how you approach it. Your mindset is a powerful tool. Imagine life as a game of chess. If you focus only on the pieces you've lost, you'll miss the opportunities that remain on the board. Positive thinking allows you to shift your focus from what's gone to what's possible. Even when things didn't go as planned at Alibaba, I reminded myself and my team, we haven't failed. We've learned something valuable for our next move. This mindset kept us resilient in the face of setbacks. One of the greatest benefits of positive thinking is its ability to inspire action. When you believe in possibilities, you're more likely to take risks and try new approaches. During Alibaba's toughest times, my optimism fueled our determination to innovate. We didn't dwell on what we couldn't control. We focused on what we could. That's the essence of positive thinking. It turns obstacles into stepping stones. Practicing positivity doesn't mean ignoring reality. It's about choosing how to respond to it. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? These questions help you shift from a place of fear to one of empowerment. I found that a simple change in perspective can transform even the toughest situations into opportunities for growth. So how can you cultivate positive thinking in your life? Start by being mindful of your inner dialogue. Replace self-doubt with affirmations of possibility. Surround yourself with people who uplift you and encourage your dreams. And most importantly, remember that positivity is a habit. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. With the right mindset, you can face any challenge and turn it into a stepping stone towards success. We all have it, that small, persistent voice of doubt inside our minds. It whispers things like, "You're not good enough," or "What if you fail?" I've heard that voice many times in my life, from the days I struggled with rejection to the moments of uncertainty while building Alibaba. But here's what I've learned. You don't have to silence the voice completely. You just need to stop letting it control you. The negative inner voice feeds on fear and comparison. When I failed university exams or got rejected from jobs, it tried to convince me that I wasn't capable. But instead of dwelling on those thoughts, I chose to focus on what I could do next. You see, the best way to overcome doubt is with action. Every step you take toward your goals quiets that inner critic because it proves that you're capable of moving forward. It's important to recognize that the inner voice isn't always right. It often exaggerates problems and underestimates your abilities. I often tell my team, don't let one mistake define your future. When Alibaba faced early challenges, that voice tried to say, maybe this isn't possible, but we didn't listen. Instead, we reminded ourselves of our purpose and pressed on. Doubt may visit, but it doesn't have to stay. Reframing is a powerful tool for managing negative self-talk. Instead of thinking, I can't do this, try asking, what do I need to learn to make this happen? Shifting from negativity to curiosity opens up possibilities. During my journey, I turned every "I'm not good at this" into "How can I get better at this?" That mindset made all the difference in how I approach challenges. So how do you overcome your negative inner voice? Start by acknowledging it without judgment. Then challenge its assumptions and replace them with empowering beliefs. Surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you. And most importantly, take action, no matter how small. Every step forward builds confidence and silences doubt. Remember, the loudest voice in your mind should always be the one cheering you on. Growth isn't just about moving forward. It's also about looking back. Reflection is one of the most powerful tools I've used to learn, adapt, and improve. When I think about my journey, from failing university exams to building Alibaba, it's clear that my biggest lessons came from moments of self-assessment. Reflection doesn't just show you what went wrong, it shows you how to make things right. Reflection helps you turn experience into wisdom. I often tell my team, a mistake is only a mistake if you don't learn from it. Every setback, every challenge is an opportunity to grow. During Alibaba's early days, we made plenty of mistakes. Instead of ignoring them, we analyzed what happened, identified the root cause, and adjusted our strategies. This habit of reflection turned our failures into stepping stones for success. The best part about reflection is that it doesn't require special tools or resources. It's something you can do anytime, anywhere. At the end of each day, I like to ask myself, what went well? What could I have done better? What did I learn? These simple questions have a profound impact on how I approach challenges and opportunities moving forward. Reflection also builds self-awareness. It helps you understand your strengths, weaknesses, and patterns of behavior. When I was struggling with public speaking early in my career, I used reflection to pinpoint what made me nervous. By acknowledging my fear and preparing more thoroughly, I became a more confident speaker over time. Self-awareness is the foundation for personal and professional growth. So how can you make reflection a habit? Start by setting aside a few minutes each day to review your actions and decisions. Write down your insights or discuss them with someone you trust. The goal isn't to dwell on the past, but to learn from it. With regular reflection, you'll find yourself better equipped to face challenges, seize opportunities, and grow into the person you want to become. Growth is not a destination, it's a lifelong journey. Many people chase success thinking it will bring them to a final point of happiness or fulfillment. But the truth is, there's always more to learn, more to achieve, and more to give. I've discovered that every milestone reached opens the door to a new challenge, a new lesson. That's the beauty of growth. It never truly ends. One of the most important lessons I've learned is that the journey itself is what matters most. When I started Alibaba, My focus wasn't just on building a successful business. It was on growing as a leader, a team, and as individuals. The process of learning, failing, adapting, and succeeding became the most rewarding part. The goals were important, but the growth along the way was priceless. Continuous growth requires humility. No matter how much you've achieved, there's always more to learn. I often remind myself and my team, stay hungry, stay foolish. This mindset keeps us curious and open to new ideas. It's easy to become complacent after achieving success, but true leaders never stop striving to improve, not for themselves, but for the people they serve. The infinite journey of growth also means embracing change. The world is constantly evolving, and so must we. At Alibaba, we've had to reinvent ourselves multiple times to stay relevant. This process wasn't always comfortable, but it was necessary. Growth often comes from stepping into the unknown, from taking risks and pushing boundaries. It's in those moments of uncertainty that we discover what we're truly capable of. So what does the infinite journey of growth look like for you? Start by asking yourself, what's the next step in my journey? Embrace the idea that growth is not about perfection but progress. Celebrate your achievements, learn from your challenges, and keep moving forward. Remember, every day is a new opportunity to become a better version of yourself. The journey never ends, and that's what makes it so exciting.
Jack Ma, the visionary entrepreneur and co-founder of Alibaba, captivated his audience once again with his inspiring insights into personal growth and success. During his latest talk, he didn't just share advice. He offered a roadmap to transform routines and unlock massive growth in every aspect of life. From self-confidence to resilience, gratitude to goal setting, Jack Ma emphasized practical strategies and shared his personal journey, making each point relatable and actionable. He began with a simple yet powerful truth. Success starts with self-confidence. Reflecting on his own failures, including multiple rejections and setbacks, Jack Ma revealed how believing in oneself is the foundation for overcoming obstacles. He urged his audience to take small but consistent steps, reminding them that transformation doesn't come from waiting for the perfect moment. It starts by improving just 1% every day. One of the most compelling parts of his talk was his emphasis on the power of a growth mindset. Challenges, Jack Ma explained, are not barriers but opportunities to innovate and learn. He shared how turning failures into lessons and adopting a mindset of continuous learning helped him build one of the largest e-commerce platforms in the world. Gratitude also took center stage in his message. Jack Ma highlighted how shifting focus from problems to possibilities can transform even the toughest situations into opportunities for growth. By cultivating gratitude, he said, we can build emotional resilience and find joy in the journey. He didn't shy away from addressing practical tools for success, such as purposeful time management and the art of saying no. Jack Ma explained how aligning daily actions with long-term goals, combined with the discipline to eliminate distractions, creates a foundation for sustained growth. His advice on surrounding yourself with positive influences and embracing the process of learning resonated deeply as he spoke from a place of authenticity and experience. The audience was particularly moved when Jack Ma spoke about the importance of visualization. If you can see it in your mind, he said, you can make it real. He encouraged everyone to imagine their ideal future and use that vision as a guide for daily actions. His reflections on balancing work and personal life served as a timely reminder that success should not come at the cost of well-being. As Jack Ma concluded, he emphasized that the journey of growth is infinite. Every day brings new opportunities to improve and evolve. The question he left his audience with was simple but profound. What will you do today to become the person you want to be tomorrow? Now that you've explored these transformative ideas, it's time to take action. Each concept Jack Ma shared, whether it's building self-confidence, cultivating gratitude, or embracing the infinite journey of growth, is a step toward massive personal and professional transformation. But knowledge alone isn't enough. Applying it is where the real magic happens. What's the first thing you'll do today to align your routine with your goals? Will you start by eliminating distractions or by visualizing the future you want to create? Maybe you'll choose to reflect on your current path or set a clear, and concrete goal for the months ahead. Whatever it is, the time to act is now. I challenge you to choose one takeaway from this talk and implement it in your life. Test it, see how it changes your mindset, your habits, and your results. And when you do, come back and share your experience in the comments below. Which point resonated with you the most? Your story could inspire someone else to take their first step toward growth. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Let's be honest, this is the kind of channel you won't stumble upon every day. Subscribe now so you don't lose access to these invaluable insights. And while you're at it, turn on notifications to stay updated with our latest content. There's more to learn, and the journey doesn't stop here. Check out our next video, How I Turned Rejection into the Foundation of Global Success, Jack Ma's Advice, where we'll dive even deeper into strategies to transform your mindset and accelerate your success.